Shri S.N. V.L. Narasimharaju, Chief Patron, Dr. Nikita Alur, Principal, Oxford College of Business Management, faculty, staff, parents, and most importantly, the students, the future of India. It is delightful to stand before all of you today, seeing in your bright faces the promise of tomorrow's India. Dr. Venugopal spoke at length about the next 3 or 4 years of your life. I am going to focus on your life after that. The life after you emerge from this cocoon called business school and emerge into the working world. You will graduate in the next few years and you will enter a world of exciting possibilities. When I was told that I am going to address an audience of undergraduates, BBA and BCom scholars, I recalled a recent conversation I had with BBA students of another city college. All of them were convinced that a BBA degree, or any undergraduate degree for that matter, was an inadequate qualification for entering the working world. So, even before they completed their degree, they had decided that their immediate plan was to pursue an MBA degree. In their case, it was an MBA, a master's degree. This led me to think of the world of work in general, how changing circumstances force us to adapt our expectations and our career plans. The working world has always been dynamic. But when my generation, your parents' generation, launched our careers, the pace of change was slower and we had time to get used to it. Gradualism was the credo of our day. Yet, as I look at myself, the service, the Indian Administrative Service, and the career that I entered 34 years ago has seen profound changes. As I stepped into the IAS in 1987, Karnataka enacted the Panchayati Raj Act. It was before your time, but your parents will remember. This was not just a structural, but a spiritual change. Structurally, we saw decentralization and devolution of funds to newly created entities like the Gram Panchayats and Mandal Panchayats. But a spiritual change happened as well. Rural people learned to question their leaders, who are now not distant ministers in Bangalore or the state capital, but their own friends and neighbors. The IAS also learned to shed an hierarchical way of working and adapt a more consultative, collaborative style. As India adjusted to this transition, there came another change which many of you are familiar with, the opening up of the Indian economy in 1991. For the urban Indian, you and I, this struck closer home. Suddenly a world of opportunities emerged, which had not been dreamt of before. IT, manufacturing, new cars, bigger, wider roads, all this seemed possible. Once again, the bureaucracy self-adjusted as the license permit Raj gave way to a remodeled, liberalized, privatized and globalized India. In the years after the 1990s, we have seen the IT revolution, the mobile revolution, and many more incremental changes. Why is this historical understanding important for you? Because while change is a constant, the nature of change itself is changing. It is happening at a far more rapid pace than before. Obsolescence is faster. There are so many overlapping transformations that what is required is not just adaptability but agility. So, it is important that you plan not to just get a BBA or a BCom or any other undergraduate degree in the next few years. You need to be prepared for much more than that. For the BBA graduate of Oxford institutions passing out in 2023 or 24 or 25, today you have an array of options to choose from. What is the future of work going to be? As managers, what are you going to manage? That is the question you have to ask yourselves. Let me give you a few pointers as to what to expect and what to do. First, what should you expect? You are entering a world that is increasingly automated. This is not new. Over centuries, mankind has gradually mechanized its work processes. But the difference is that earlier, we were basically adding muscle or mechanization to what people did. If you were digging a ditch, let us say, you got assisted by a machine. And even when we automated other tasks that were not mechanical, we were automating fairly routine work. This is work for which you could write a script or a set of algorithms. And then you got a machine to follow those rules, and that did the work. What feels different now is that we seem to be building machines that seem to be doing wholly new different things. Machines are getting at things that look like tacit knowledge, tasks that look like cognitive tasks which the human mind used to do. With techniques like machine learning, it looks as if machines are actually learning to do something. They are not being scripted to do something. They are discovering patterns. They are discovering things themselves. The difference also is that we are seeing spectacular demonstrations and progress with artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, and robotics in a way that has been quite extraordinary. This affects not just the mundane tasks. For example, driverless cars will throw 25 million Indian drivers out of work in the foreseeable future. But it impacts on even more sophisticated fields. Cardiac surgery, you were just telling me that you have a medical college as well. Cardiac surgery is described today as a dying specialty because surgery is overtaken by less invasive interventional techniques. Even just 5 years from now, more than 1/3 of the skills that we believe are essential in today's world will have changed. And this is not I who am saying this is the World Economic Forum. McKinsey estimates that by 2030, just 5 or 6 years after you graduate, about 16% of today's occupations would have become automated. This will in turn impact on incomes, skilling, and location. Second, what is the kind of change that will happen in the workplace? The concept of a job for life will cease to exist. I am not just talking about not sticking to one organization for life. You are familiar now. Unlike my generation, you shift from company to company. I am speaking of more than that because the ability to use technology to perform portfolio work will bring the ability for you to move between projects, organizations, and roles. This in turn will increase the demand for hybrid leaders who can work collaboratively across the private, public, or not-for-profit sectors and use business solutions to tackle the world's social, environmental, and physical problems. There will also be a need for continuous learning. This holds true even for fresh university graduates like you. The half-life of a skill has dropped from 30 years to an average of about 6 years. This means that the model which we used to follow, learn at school and do at work, is no longer sustainable. Constant reskilling and lifelong learning will be a way of life even while you work. Third, how do you prepare for such large-scale disruption? By self-transformation. Here is a sample of the skill sets that you will need to acquire. 1. Nurture your creativity. Robots cannot compete with humans on creativity. The future workplace is going to demand new ways of thinking, and human creativity is the key to doing this. Along with this, analytical and critical thinking and understanding and decision making on complex issues are skills that you need to acquire. 2. Cultivate leadership and interpersonal skills. While today's typical hierarchical organization chart may not exist, individuals will take on leadership roles on project teams or work with other employees to tackle issues and develop solutions. This means leadership is not confined to a few people like me or the people who are sitting on the dais here. You will need to demonstrate everyday leadership in your daily lives. This means that you need to hone your communication skills and communicate effectively with other human beings. So I will not say run away from social media. It is the greatest tool of interpersonal communication available today, where it cuts across borders. Use it effectively. The parent there may not like it, but social media is the tool of the future. 3. Embrace diversity, cultural intelligence, and change. As our world and workplaces become more diverse and open, it is vital that individuals have the skills to understand, respect, and work with others despite differences in race, culture, language, and so on. Even gender, sexual orientation, political and religious beliefs, we will need to be more accepting. Due to the speed of change in the future workplace, people will have to be agile and celebrate change. Not only will our brains need to be flexible, but we will also need to adjust to shifting workplaces, expectations, and skill sets. An essential skill will be the ability to see change not as a burden, but as an opportunity to grow and innovate. You should use the NEP also as a tool to help you grow and innovate. The flexibility that it offers is not a gateway to an easy life. It is an opportunity to learn more and more using this platform. Not necessarily inside the classroom. It could be anywhere, but it offers you enormous flexibility to learn. Therefore, managers of tomorrow, it is time for all of us to begin acquiring skills that will make us valuable resources in the future workplace. Now is the time to decide. You are standing on the threshold. Are you up to it? Thank you all. Good luck. Jai Hind.